Well, day 4 at Old Trafford, and yet another day of brilliant Test cricket, Mike Hussey. So much happened today. It's almost hard to know where to begin. But what was your overall impression of a day that, again, Australia obviously have put themselves in the box seat to maybe win the Ashes on day 5?
Yeah, they'll be very, very happy with where they are at the moment. It was another day of drama. I just love Test cricket. just the contest between bat and ball is just phenomenal. The little one-on-one battles that go on all day is amazing. We're seeing greatness at work with Steve Smith's batting. We've seen Stuart Broad just have it over David Warner once again. First time he's got a pair in a Test match. So you see the highs and the lows that Test cricket offer. I feel for Joe Root. Coming in, he's had so much on his mind. Gets out first ball. It's just had so many ups and downs. And for Australia, they've worked their way into a fantastic position in the Test match. I think they've pretty much got everything right along the way, and they've just got to try and finish the job tomorrow.
Now you talk about Steve Smith. I mean, it's the first time he hasn't made a century. Surely he's failed in this one, hasn't he? Well, I mean, it was again. He's shown that he's just on another level to everyone, isn't he?
He's just incredible. We're running out of amazing things to say about him because he just assesses the situation so well. He came in at a pretty tough situation, actually. The English were bowling so well, particularly Stuart Broad. Jofra Archer was testing everyone. They were going past the bat. He actually had to get through a bit of a tough little period there. He was beaten a few times himself, but as he always seems to do, he finds a way to get through. And then once he gets through that initial period, gives himself a little bit of time to get in, then he really starts to prosper by scoring runs. And by the end, it looked like he was playing in the backyard with his mates.
Ridiculous. Is there, I mean, I know it's been a great day for Australia. Is Steve Smith, in the same way that you could maybe say this about Ben Stokes for England, perhaps papering over some cracks in the Australians' batting?
Well, I guess the short answer is yes, but there's been high-quality bowling from both teams, and certainly throughout the series, there's been enough in the pitches to keep the bowlers interested as well. So, great experience for all the other batters. Every team relies on their best one or two players, so let's be honest. So, I know it's an area that Australia need to keep working on, and I think with experience those players will keep getting better and better. But certainly, yeah, Steve Smith has been a huge standout for Australia in this series, and probably been the difference, really, between the two teams, particularly from the batting side of things anyway.
You mentioned David Warner and the pair. It's 3 ducks in a row, not the sort of ducks in a row that batsmen like to have. The same sort of thing again. How much of a problem does this continue to be? And no matter what happens in this match, do you think Australia might be tempted to pull him out of that position?
I don't think they'll make a change there. You know, he's a world-class player. Every player has a period in time. It might even happen to Steve Smith. You never know. I'm not sure when. But you have a period where things just don't go your way. Stuart Broad's got his measure at the moment, but Stuart Broad doesn't play for every team around the world. So, yeah, while Australia's playing England, Stuart Broad will continue to give him problems, no question about that. But once David Warner gets back to Australia, gets into home conditions again, I'm sure he'll pummel the runs again. But yeah, he'll be disappointed. Look, there's been some great players over the years that have had a run of ducks. I think of Mark Waugh, he got 4 in a row. I think Greg Chappell had 7 ducks in one season one time, and he was a great player as well. It happens to everyone. Unfortunately for David Warner, he's just going through that tough patch at the moment.
Now, we saw an interesting little period there with Jofra Archer kind of taking on a few of the players, and a few sort of verbals were coming in there. Marnus Labuschagne was waved off by Stuart Broad. Is it getting a little bit testy, and do you think that might happen on day 5?
I don't think it's going overboard. I think it's great. You want to see the two teams competing really, really hard, and they're doing that. It's tough cricket. Across that white line, emotions are going to rise a little bit. This is Ashes cricket. You know, everyone's giving their best. I'm sure Jofra Archer has been frustrated with how this Test match has gone, how the series has gone in certain stages. So, you know, you get a bit hot under the collar at times. The Australians, yep, they're always a bit of niggle there as well. But this is top level sport, and as long as it doesn't overstep the mark and go too far, then I'd have no problem with it whatsoever. I think it actually fired Jofra Archer up a little bit,
yeah,
and we learned a little bit about Jofra Archer today, that you don't really want to poke the bear too much, because if he gets motivated like that, he was bowling quickly today.
Yeah, he sure was. He pumped it up above 90 miles an hour quite regularly. There was a fair bit of declaration speculation going on this afternoon, and I will tell you that we exchanged messages in the afternoon, and Huss did predict that England would be 2 down by stumps. A bit of Nostradamus stuff there.
Nah.
Did Did you think that Australia were perhaps leaving it too long, or do you think that Tim Payne has played this exactly right?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow. If England manage to bat out the whole day, then perhaps they have left it too long. But I think they got it about right. I think they would have been nervous a little bit from what happened in Leeds, just in the last Test match. They're thinking, well, we can't afford to give England any chance whatsoever. You know, say they declared earlier and England came out with none down overnight and perhaps needed less than 300 today, then they might be giving themselves a chance to win and go ahead in the series. So I think Australia wanted to play England pretty much out of the game, but also have enough time to bowl England out in the second innings. So at the moment it's looking good, but they've still got plenty of work to do tomorrow.
Just a word on Joe Root. Obviously he would have been incredibly disappointed with that tonight. There's been some speculation about his captaincy. Interestingly enough, it was Ben Stokes who gave the rousing team talk before they came out to bowl. What did you make of that?
Not much. I think, you know, it's been a long series, and if you're just getting the same voice over and over and over again, sometimes it doesn't have the same impact as maybe at the start of the series. So it's a good idea to get some different voices, get some different ideas, throw them out there, and it's good to hear a different voice sometimes. So personally, I rate Joe Root as a player and as a captain. I think sometimes as a captain, you can only be made to look good as what your team allows you to. And unfortunately for his team, they haven't been able to maintain the pressure on the Australians for longer periods of time. I think they've been really good in parts, but you know the rest of your team makes the captain look really good. I think he's done a pretty good job, to be fair, and he's been under enormous pressure, and you got a feel for him when he comes out and cops that unbelievable delivery first up. Yeah. He wasn't able to keep it out.
Yeah, Australia's bowlers were incredible when they came on, and just for tomorrow, I mean, we saw a miracle at Headingley. Is a second one possible at Old Trafford?
Well, it's possible. It's unlikely, highly unlikely, because this pitch is not easy to bat on. It's certainly taking some spin. The other part of it is that they need to bat a long period of time, and Joe Root's someone who can occupy the crease for a long period of time, as is Rory Burns. Now, unfortunately for England, they're already both back in the pavilion. So you'd have to think that it's going to be that man, Ben Stokes, again. He's going to have to somehow pull off another miracle for England. Can he do it? I wouldn't say that he couldn't, but it's going to be a tough ask.
Yeah, it will definitely take something quite extraordinary if England are to get out of this one. But hey, this Test series has thrown up all sorts so far, so let's not rule anything out. We will be here to take you home in this fourth Test, so make sure you stay logged on to ESPN Cricinfo.